Welcome to Spidell's California Minute. I'm your host, Catherine Sedan. This week we're covering some of the exemptions from the ABC test for worker classification that will sunset for certain industries at the end of this year. For an update on all the tax law changes from the past year, attend Spidell's Federal and California Tax Update. You can attend a live seminar or a live or on-demand webinar, and we have topics and details at caltax.com. Effective January 1st, 2025, the exemptions from the ABC test for manicurists and construction trucking services will sunset. This means starting in 2025, these workers are required to be treated as employees rather than independent contractors unless they meet the ABC test criteria to qualify as an independent contractor. Under the ABC test, a worker is treated as an employee unless they meet all three of the following tests. The worker is free from the control and direction of the hiring entity in connection with the performance of the work, both under the contract for the performance of the work and in fact, commonly known as the Borrello right to control test. The worker performs work that is outside the usual course of the hiring entity's business, and the worker is customarily engaged in an independently established trade, occupation, or business of the same nature as the work performed. If a worker cannot meet all of these tests, then the hiring entity has to begin paying wages to these workers, pay payroll taxes on their behalf, and offer other work-related benefits provided to other employees. Under the law in effect prior to January 1st, 2025, manicurists are eligible for the professional services exemption from the ABC test. If qualified, the Borrello common law right to control test is used to determine whether the manicurist is an employee or an independent contractor. To qualify for the professional services exemption from the ABC test, the individual is required to maintain a business location, which may include the individual's residence, that is separate from the hiring entity. However, nothing prevents an individual from choosing to perform services at the location of the hiring entity. They have to obtain any required business and/or professional license, have the ability to set or negotiate their own rates for services performed, and to schedule their own hours outside of project completion dates and reasonable business hours, be customarily engaged in the same type of work performed under contract with another hiring entity, or hold themselves out to other potential customers for the same work, and they have to customarily and regularly exercise discretion and independent judgment in the performance of the services. In addition, various salon workers, including manicurists prior to January 1st, 2025, are also required to meet certain other criteria to qualify for the professional services exemption, such as processing their own payments, scheduling their own appointments, and issuing a 1099 to the salon owner if they're renting space from the owner. Similarly, prior to January 1st, 2025, construction trucking subcontractors are considered independent contractors rather than a contractor's employees if the subcontractor is registered with the Department of Industrial Relations as a public works contractor, uses its own employees to perform the construction trucking services unless the subcontractor was the sole proprietor operating their own truck to perform the service, and holds a valid motor carrier permit from the DMV, and negotiates and contracts with and is compensated directly by the licensed contractor. Spidell's analysis and explanation of California taxes has an in-depth discussion of worker classification issues under AB5. This California Tax Reference Manual is written by California Tax Pros for California Tax Pros with helpful charts and examples throughout. To pre-order the 2025 edition, go to caltax.com and click Publications. That's all for this week. Join us next time for another episode of Spidell's California Minute.